Hello, it's Marc from Fluent Finance Abroad, and we're here today to do another interview with one of our long-standing collaborators. I'm here today with Paul Mockford from Dream Properties Nerja. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Mark.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. You?
So tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and Nerja.
Okay. Well, I mean, I grew up in Australia, so I had a great start to life in Australia, and then we moved to the UK, which is where my parents are from. Finished my schooling there and went into the family business, which was photography, actually, although it still involved selling, always been involved in selling. During my time, I enjoyed learning about property. That was my passion, was property, buying and selling, remodeling, etc. And then when I met Sally, my wife, she'd been coming to Spain, to Nerja specifically, for most of her life, really. And so we came over for a short trip, 5 days. I fell in love with the place. We went home, sold up, and came out.
You were in the family business, but you did property in the UK.
Just for myself.
Right.
Just basically buying property, doing it up, selling it on.
But Sally had been coming to Nerja for all her life. How come?
Because her parents had a property here. First they had an apartment, and then they bought a villa. And so she'd been coming for holidays, etc.
So there's a big family connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was kind of the reason for coming to Nerja specifically. But when I came and saw it, I fell in love with the place.
And what was it? What
Just the charm. The weather helps, but the charm of the place. Obviously, Nerja still retains its sort of small village feel, even though in the summer it's very, very busy. There are a lot of people, but most of the time it's just like it was a small village, and it retains that charm.
Yeah,
like many other places along the coast.
It does. I mean, I've been to visit Nerja on numerous occasions because it's very close to where I live in Marbella. And we're talking about an hour and a half normally. And it has that kind of fishing village still feel about it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Did Sally have experience in the property market before?
No, she didn't. She was more into her business, or her work was in conferencing, organising financial conferences, etc. But basically a business background. That was where her background was. And so, the property thing was new for her when she came over.
Okay, so you settled in Nerja. Was it always the plan to get into the property business?
That was the plan when I came over. Yeah, my idea was to get into the property business, estate agency specifically. And I was lucky enough to do so. When we first arrived, we took 6 months out to learn the language, do a course, get some basics in the language, and then start looking for work. And obviously, when you're looking for work, you're looking everywhere. So I put in my CV all along the coast, Marbella, Nerja, all along. I was fortunate. I got offered jobs in Marbella, in Altamira, and in Nerja. So obviously Nerja was the place I wanted to be. So I started there. Worked for another company for about 1.5 years, learning the ropes, learning how it all worked and what have you. And then from there, decided to do it for myself.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about Dream Properties Nerja. Is it exclusively sales, or what areas of business?
We have 2 companies actually, because the Dream Properties Nerja we set up in 2006. My wife and I, with partners at the time. The partners owned a rental company, which was Dream España. So therefore, the property company was Dream Properties. So we set that up in 2006, and we worked from 2006 till 2010 in that way. And then in 2010, we bought the rental company from our partners. We bought them out of everything, right? And so then we started up holiday rentals as well.
So you not only do property sales, but you also do rentals as well, holiday
rentals only, yeah. No longer than just holiday rentals, yeah.
We'll touch on the holiday rental part of the business in a bit, but in 2000, you arrived in 2006, you set up business in 2006. What was the property market like back then?
Yeah, we started, fortunately and unfortunately, just as the market was about to turn. So during the early part of the 2000s, there was a boom, as we all know. Selling was easy, etc. We started in 2006, and that's when it started to turn. So in one way, fortunately, it meant that we had to learn to work harder for our sales, for our clients. It wasn't easy. It was difficult. The market was hard. And then obviously we all know in 2008 came the crash, let's say, crisis. And that was difficult for a year or two, but again, you learn to adapt. So actually for us, we found it was actually reasonably good time. Once we got over the initial shock of the crisis, etc., sales came back and we were selling pretty well. It just meant that buyers had an expectation of pricing, and sellers had to be more realistic with their pricing. But one thing I'll say about Nerja, I don't know whether you want to touch on this later, but one thing I'll say about Nerja is that it actually withstands the dips better than many other places.
Right.
So, when the crisis came, we were seeing drops of 30, 40, 50% prices. In Nerja, that wasn't the case. Some places, the most desirable places were really only dropping maybe 10%. Some of the others, 20, 30, but no more. So actually the downside, the downturn wasn't as bad as some of the other places in Spain.
Did you notice a drop in the amount of agencies in 2000?
There was definitely a drop, but not as big a drop as I thought they'd be. There was definitely some that went. I think some had been used to sort of resting on their laurels and sitting back and everything was easy, and it wasn't. And so some went, but quite a lot stayed. I mean, Nerja has many, many agents. For a small town, it has a lot of agents, and that's down to its popularity. And there are lots again now. But yeah, there was a drop, but not as much as I would have expected.
What is
Booming.
Booming.
The market is booming. Since COVID, I mean, obviously COVID was a tough time for everybody. And then since COVID, it sort of picked up steadily. And the last year and a half, absolutely booming. Prices have gone up, clients. Strange times. It's not as even throughout the year as you expect. You have more periods when there are more clients and some where there are none, obviously. Or not none, but fewer. But overall, it's a good time, and the market's booming. Prices are high.
So over the 20 years that you've been operating in Nerja, in the property business, what trends in nationalities have you seen? Have you seen like a big demand in one nationality and that ebb away, or what's
When I first started, it was a lot of Brits, a lot of British people. And then probably in the mid 2010s, we started to see a lot more Scandinavians coming into the market. And then obviously Brexit hit. And so the Brits slowed down. And the Swedes I say Swedes, but it's Scandinavians really, dominated the market. And now it's just a good mixture, I find. We still have the Scandinavians. We have more British coming back.
Okay.
But we also have Dutch, Belgian, German, and starting to get inquiries from further afield, the United States, Canada. We've always sold to Canadians, funnily enough. So a long way to come, but they do like it here, and they come for winter.
The Canadians?
Yeah. And Americans seem to be going to go that way as well.
How far away is Nerja from Malaga, for example, the airport?
The airport's, on a normal day, 35, 40 minutes. It's really not that far at all. And when you're talking to people from North America, that's no distance whatsoever for them. So yeah, you can land in the airport, get through customs, be in your taxi and in Nerja easily within 45 minutes.
So someone from North America looking at this video, never heard of Nerja before, it could quite easily be on their radar.
Absolutely, and a great place to come. And as we know, the airlines are doing more and more flights now from North America, direct to Malaga. So there's no change in Madrid, you could fly direct to Malaga.
So tell us about Nerja itself. What from the property side of it? Obviously you got Nerja Town Centre, which I know and everyone knows. But what other areas do you cover?
You've got the 4 Capistranos, which was really and truly, that's what put Nerja on the map as a holiday tourist destination. An old friend of mine was an agent back in the day in the 70s, and he was telling me that he'd be in exhibitions, and people would be saying, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Nah," and they'd not heard of it. And then he mentioned Capistrano. "Oh yeah, we know Capistrano." And so that did actually help to put Nerja on the map. So you have 4 of those. You have the original Capistrano, Sub 1, Oasis, Capistrano Player. So they're really good areas. They're still very popular today. And you have the buildings in the town centre, but on the front, on the seafront. They are the most popular and obviously the most expensive. And they're the ones, not the only ones, but they have gone up in price quite considerably over the last couple of years. So that's a good area. But you have outskirts as well. You have, because Nerja has expanded. There's not that much room to expand too much, but it has expanded. So you get the areas now around the Capistranos, which are also popular.
What areas are those?
Well, you have places like Jardines de Nerja, Alhambra. Just below San Juan, you have one called Los Naranjos. So you have lots and lots of different areas. You have Nerja Golf, which is another one. Used to be a little golf course in Nerja. Not many people know, but there used to be a little 9-hole golf course in Nerja. And that got taken away and they built houses on there. So you have the Chimenea area. Borriana is now very popular. Again, very expensive, but popular. Fabulous beach. Busy in the summer, but loads of restaurants and shops. You can spend a whole day, or in fact, you can spend your whole holiday there if you wish. But it's a very popular area. So it's still within an easy walk of the town centre. That's the nice thing.
How long will it take?
15 minutes.
That's
15 minutes.
That's a nice walk.
Exactly. Yes, but hilly. Nerja is a hilly place,
Right.
but it's an easy walk. Yeah.
Talking about expensive then, so if I was interested in buying in Nerja, let's say a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, what would I expect to sort of pay price-wise or price per square meter?
The most popular is 2 bedrooms, and a 2-bedroom place you can pay anywhere from, now you'll be lucky to get anything under 200,000, normally 220, 250, up to 500. Or if you're talking Borriana seafront, 600, maybe more.
Okay.
3-bedroom, obviously you can add probably 100,000 onto each of those prices. So you can see there's a good broad spectrum of prices, which give you different value for where you want to be. So if your budget doesn't run to the front, you can buy a little bit further back. But we're only talking no more than 5 minutes in a car to be on the beach.
Yeah.
And most of the places are walkable. A few are a bit far, but most of the places are walkable to the beach within 20 minutes. Yeah. So even if you're a little bit further out, doesn't mean you're away from the beach.
Okay, so that's not huge, is it? We're not talking about the Marbella sort of pricing. They're still pretty accessible.
Still affordable. Still affordable. Yeah.
What other areas do you cover? Because that area is very interesting, and it's a beautiful part of Spain. I know Frijana is just up the road. But so do you cover that?
We cover Frigliana, we cover Torox. Our main areas are Nerja, Frigliana, Torox. A little bit into, Maro is a place it's a little village within a village, actually. So Nerja is itself, and part of that is a little village called Maro. It's actually part of Nerja, but it's quite, in fact, where I live. So quite a nice little area. So we also go into Almuñeca, La Herradura, over to Malaga as well. We've done deals in all the way down to Marbella, but mainly it's Nerja, Torox, Frigliana would be our main area.
So you cover pretty much that whole area. So Maro is where the caves are.
Maro is where the caves are, indeed. Yeah.
And
if you've not been, you need to go.
You can get the little train, can't you?
You can. Out of town, right by the Plaza de España in the town centre, and it goes all the way up to the caves. Yeah.
We did it. Well, we've done a deal recently up in Maro as well, which is quite interesting. Is that an area where it's ripe for investment, do you think, or what areas would you? Where would you see investment opportunities within?
Maro's quite a good little village. I like it. It's quiet, but still very accessible to Nerja itself. So if you want to get away from the busyness in the summer, for example, Maro's a good place. Lots of properties available there that are ripe for redevelopment. We just recently listed one that has been redeveloped. Beautiful property. I think I might have sent you the details, actually. There's lots of older properties that are ripe for development.
Older? What do you mean by older?
Well, older, built 100 years ago, that are now dilapidated, and you can either rebuild or reform.
And it's still within like an old town type of...
Very much so. It's very, very small little village. Yeah. And you have Maro Beach as well, which is a lovely little beach.
What about Nerja Town Centre? Because are there opportunities for properties that were built in the 60s, 70s?
Definitely. Same as Maro, actually. If you look in Nerja, you can find some older buildings that have either been left dilapidated or lived in but in original state. So yeah, you can get yourself a nice property because they're usually quite reasonable size, so you can develop them quite nicely.
So from an investment perspective, those properties that could do with a lick of paint, to say the least.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not energy efficient or anything like that. And what can you get out of maybe buying a doer-upper, so to speak?
Yeah, you've got a few options actually. So you have got the town centre properties. Some people love that, some people don't. Clearly, the town centre is noisier, more of a living area than a holiday area, but people quite happily have them for holiday homes as well. You're generally then buying something that you can make into your own house, your own front door, etc., etc. But you've also got opportunities outside. I mentioned earlier Capistrano. Capistrano was built started in the 70s, built through the 70s and 80s. We're now talking 40, 50 years later. Some of those are still in original condition with original owners. So some of those come up for sale as well. So they're good opportunities as well, because you can buy them at a lower price, of course, put your own stamp on them, do how you like, as modern or as traditional as you like, keeping the outside traditional, of course. And so there's some good opportunities there, and we've done many, many deals for properties like that over the years.
So do these types of properties, are they good renters? Like, how does that?
Rental in Nerja is booming. We've just had our best year ever for rentals this year.
Holiday rentals.
Holiday rentals. In fact, we could rent the properties we have. We could rent them over several times. So the market is booming. Nerja is very, very popular. It always comes up in sort of the top 5 places in Spain. Some of the beaches come in the top 5 as well. So it's popular with all nationalities. We get all the Northern Europeans, so French, Germans, Scandinavians, Brits, Irish, all come, as well as Canadians, as I've said before. They come for holidays as well, believe it or not, especially for winter. They like to come for the winter.
Right.
But the scope in Nerja is great. And the other nice thing with Nerja is the season tends to be a bit longer than some of the other nearby towns. So actually, if you have a property there you want to rent out, you can, of course, just do it for the summer season or for the peak seasons. But you can also do well doing it all year round. So there are opportunities there for a good return on investment.
So what you're saying to me is buy a property in Nerja, maybe even new or old, but maybe old, spend some money on it, good location, and then rent it out.
Yep.
And
that's the ideal.
You're on to a winner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, there's something good. There's something good coming out of this. Okay. So Nerja Town Hall.
Yeah.
You've had dealings with Nerja Town Hall before. But yeah. Good to deal with.
They're okay. They're no better or worse than any other, really. I mean, paperwork in Spain, as we all know, is a pain. They like their paperwork. But I think on the whole, when you need something done, you can get it done. If you need your license for your building or you need your license to reform. License to reforms come quite well. We've done quite a few just recently where the builder's gone, he's got the license more or less straight away. So they're making things a little bit easier there. If you're looking to completely rebuild, redesign, extend, etc., that of course takes longer, but that would take longer anywhere in the world. So yeah, on the whole, they're okay. But they do look out for Nerja. They're quite good. We talked earlier about earlier buildings, and we can see some of the older buildings, high-rise buildings. There's only not many, but there's a few, and they obviously decided that wasn't the way to go for Nerja. So they're actually now very strict on how high you can build. They want the town to keep its feel, the small village feel. They don't want it to be high-rise like some of the other places. So
Benidorm.
Yeah, none of that.
New York. Nerja, New York. No, but I can see that's that charm, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. So again, in town, they're quite strict on their planning, which is I see as a good thing. They want to keep the town, and that helps keep the town with its charm and its value, and keeps people coming back.
Nerja Town Hall, what are they like on tourists? Are they still welcoming tourists? There's no...
Absolutely, yeah.
No talk about...
Every year they have even this year they had a day. It's a tourist day. So they have the whole Plaza de España with all the stalls and things welcoming the tourists. So yeah, absolutely, Nerja Town Hall.
So it's not like it is in Barcelona or in Malaga at the moment?
No, I think my opinion is obviously Nerja is a holiday town without the holiday makers.
Yeah.
There's nothing to pay anybody, so they need the tourists. Where I think Malaga, city, Barcelona, a little different.
Yeah.
They're sort of more working cities, so I get why they're trying to restrict that more. But at the moment, no, in Nerja,
Perfect. Is there a lot of new build going up?
not a lot. There are some. It tends to be on the sort of more the outskirts now. So we're looking at between Nerja and Torox. They're building along there. There are very few opportunities within Nerja itself because of the land. There's not that much land to build on.
The market's good. Yeah, it's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
But what challenges do you face on your day-to-day, and what challenges do you see?
The biggest challenge we have is stock. It's availability of properties to sell. There are clients wanting to buy, but there are not as many properties coming to the market as we would like. And so that really is our single biggest challenge at the moment is stock.
So how do you see property prices going in Nerja in the next 2 to 5 years?
The way it is at the moment, the fact that there's the lack of stock and the buyers, I can't see it going anywhere than up. I just can't see it.
Let's touch on more finance and mortgages. There aren't mortgage brokers up in.
No, I mean, I've been there 20 years and I'm not aware of any.
Right.
So there are banks, obviously, and the banks, as you know, the banks come to agents quite often and offer deals to get clients, whereby they'll pay commissions to agents.
So a bank will pay an agent a commission to introduce a client directly to that bank.
Correct. But since we met you all those years ago, that's not interest to me at all. Because yes, we all like to make money. Of course, that's what we're here for. We're in business. But to me, to be able to recommend yourself, we're talking about you because I work with you, is great because you quite often make me the money because a sale will go through that may not otherwise have gone through. The whole idea is if a client goes to a bank, they're dealing with one bank that can offer them one thing or not. Whereas with yourself, you know the whole market. So you look at the individual client's needs and what their financial status is and get the correct deal for them. And I've seen this in action. So, you know that I've had times where we've had clients or people I'd known that have been looking for a mortgage and they're, maybe a little bit tricky to get. So, but you've managed to do it for them. So for me, I end up doing better because sometimes we'll get a saying that we might not have got otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, what banks, obviously I used to work for a bank, so I understand they want to keep everything to themselves and they try and pigeonhole their clients into how they want them to. And sometimes trying to put a particular client, especially international client, into a box doesn't work. A lot of the times it doesn't. We've got a deal going through at the moment, don't we, where you referred the client to us to get pre-approved first, which we did. They came back and you found them property and immediately they were confident and put the money down and we're closing before Christmas. That's how it should work.
And that's exactly the point.
Okay. Well, that's that. So go on then. Finally, for those that don't know Nerja, why Nerja? What's so special about it?
It's not just me that thinks it. There are so many people. I say holiday rentals we do, and we have people that come back year after year after year to Nerja. They just love it, and as do we. It's hard to put your finger on it, but I think it is the fact that it's the small village feel. But it has lovely beaches. I think there's 7 or 8 beaches just along Nerja, so you can go to a beach. There's many others just either side. So the weather helps, which is what brings people down in the first place. But the actual town itself just has a really nice feel. I mean, I've been there for over 20 years now, and I still love it. I haven't fallen out of love with it. I still love it, and I will stay there now. That's my home.
what I noticed when I've been up to Nerja, it has that old towny feel, it has that whole Spanish feel, but the terrain is different. You know, it's quite mountainous. That you've got what they're called calas. They're like individual. There may be 7, but it's not just one big massive beach.
That's correct.
They're all like kind of secluded little beaches. You have to go. You know, it's quite mountainous and everything else, and which is absolutely beautiful. And the Mediterranean Sea over there is spectacular. And what's the main bit? Is it Europa?
Balcón de Europa.
Balcón de
Balcón de
Europa.
Europa.
That's some of the best views you
Absolutely.
ever see.
Yeah. And again, I've been there 20 years. I still don't tire of walking down there and having a little sit and a look out to the sea.
But we got 2 small children, and we went up there. We met you, didn't we? And it was very safe for the kids. They were running around, and there was a really nice family feel to it all.
Yeah. That, and you've touched on a good point there, actually, because that's one big thing for us. We have 2 daughters. They're a little bit older now, but they go out on their own. I'm quite safe, or they're quite safe. I'm quite happy they're safe without me being there. The other thing that we don't get in Nerja is the stag do's, the hen do's. We do, but not like you do
Not
to the extreme places. And it is very much a family vibe. So we have people coming again for holidays. It'll be grandma, grandpa, the parents, the children, everyone comes together. There's something for everyone. We also get people who were bought back in the 70s maybe, and then their children now come over, and then their children are coming over. So it has that family feel.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming in, Paul. It's been an absolute pleasure to learn more about you and the business and Nerja itself.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks.